The direction was do nothing. And I was like, I am a very accomplished actress. Did you just tell me to do
Cheryl, I
nothing?
had that on Game of Thrones and I was massively insulted because I was like, I'm not actually a murdering scepter. And they were like, no, really, do nothing because your face does too much already. And I was like, okay.
See, I have the opposite problem where they're like, Hannah, honey, we need you to do something, okay? Your voice, it stays on one. We need more in the more. I know that you are dead in the eyes, but lights up, okay?
They break you down, they lift you up.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the SAG-AFTRA Foundation's Conversations at Home program. I'm Scott Mantz, and boy, do we have a program for you. And support this program from the SAG-AFTRA Foundation by liking this video and subscribing to this YouTube channel. So right now, boy, oh boy, I've done so many of these conversations, but this one is tops. It is my pleasure to introduce our panel of Emmy-nominated supporting actresses in a comedy series. Let's welcome, playing Barbara Howard on Abbott Elementary, scoring her first Emmy nomination, Sheryl Lee Ralph. Playing Ava Daniels on Hacks with her second Emmy nomination, Hannah Einbinder. Playing Dr. Sharon Fieldstone on Ted Lasso with her first nomination, Sarah Niles. And playing Keely Jones on Ted Lasso with her second nomination, Juno Temple. Welcome everyone to this conversations and congratulations. And first of all, I just want to ask, start with you, Sheryl. What does this nomination mean to you?
Oh my God, it just means so much to me. After nearly 50 years in an industry that when I started, you would not see women, too many women around at all in any department, if ever, at a time when I could be in an industry that might reject you for not only just your gender, but the color of your skin. At a time when I've been through times where I've been too tall, too short, too black and not black enough, all in the same day, that I could arrive at a time where I am the perfect person for the perfect role in the perfect show for a time like this. I am on top of the moon and it feels good.
That is how you start a conversation. Way to go. We love it. Congrats. And look, Sarah, same for you. Your first nomination. What does this nomination mean to you, especially after, you joined Ted Lasso in its second season, was already established. It had a phenomenal first season, and you're the newbie. You're jumping in. So, what does this nomination mean for you?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I can relate to some of what Sheryl's saying, and especially like in the UK, where you don't often, the viewpoints that we see of people that look like yourself is from America. So like to be in a space and with COVID and everything going on, to enter into like a successful show and to just be yourself, to just trust in that is amazing. And to know that you get a nomination means that there's people that see you and appreciate the work you're doing, even if it's just a small amount. And often we as women often only give a small amount of what we're capable of doing. And we hold so many stories and so much. It means the world to me. I can't even properly explain, but it means so much to me.
And joining us right now, playing Rebecca Welton on Ted Lasso. She is last year's winner for supporting actress in the comedy series, Hannah Waddingham, this point known as Hannah W, because we have two Hannahs on this panel. Welcome, Hannah Waddingham.
Hello, campers. Apologies for my delay. As you can see, I'm handheld. The iPad's not working.
It's the avant-garde portion of our section.
Hello, everybody.
Hi, gorgeous.
Hi, AT. Hi, darling.
Hannah W joining us right now. What does this second nomination mean to you, especially because season 2 of Ted Lasso took some pretty big swings, and there were some not just one, but a few big developments for Rebecca Welton.
Well, first of all, I honestly, there's no way on God's earth I thought I was going to be included in this mighty gaggle again. Not in a month of Sundays. So I was having quite a nice day, just noodling around town, and then I got the call, and I was a little bit shocked. So there's that. and then yeah, the two main things for Rebecca, my girl RW, this year, Sam Obisanya, that wasn't a hard day at the office, and also the magnificent addition of having, my gosh, Dame Harriet Walter playing your mother.
Yeah.
I mean, the most unbelievable gift, and then being given a Rick Astley eulogy.
Well,
just
Hannah,
insane, really insane, and just gifts that keep on being doled out to me, which I feel the privilege of all the time.
Absolutely. And talk about the gifts that keep giving. This entire panel, the performances that you all have given with these incredible shows, part of these incredible ensembles, and especially in the case of Hacks, topping its first season by going big, literally going on the road in season 2. So Hannah E., how did that open up your performance as Ava and take you to places that you weren't even able to explore in season 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think like for Ava this season, there was a lot more family stuff and a lot more of sort of Ava's backstory that allows, I think, hopefully the viewer to empathize with her more. She's like not always the easiest person to love. And so I was really excited to dig into that. She's obviously going through like the loss of her father and the business with the tennis ball ashes. So there's a lot of chaos, but yeah, definitely a lot more like emotional work, which I was really like happy to be able to try to do. And I mean, I like as a stand-up comedian who is on hiatus for a second and then I'm going back on the road in a tour myself currently, I feel like it was just this weird meta wild thing of like being on, you know, a tour bus and sleeping in the bunk and with this like successful older blonde stand-up comedian and like having just come back from touring with Chelsea Handler. It was just like, it's all this crazy, like close to home insanity. But I was so excited because like that world of the road is something I feel really familiar with. And like, you know, luckily our writers also have performance backgrounds. And so it felt really authentic to me. And it was just like a lot of stuff that I was really happy and really pleased to be able to dig into.
You made me cry a lot last night watching you on the roof with Deborah.
Talk about that scene, Hannah E. That last scene between you and Jean Smart. That was unexpected, especially for Ava.
Oh my God. That was one of the scenes where like it was hard to memorize because I just kept I kept having that and just like sobbing alone. Like it just is so, I feel like way too close to the case on this one. Like really like hard I'm like, where does Jean begin and Deborah end? Like, I'm just like, it's everyone feels, and I'm sure like these sort of environments are acclimated on like each of your shows, but like it does feel like a family unit. And especially when you're going like, so you're doing a lot of your work with one person and that person is someone you hold so dear, like it's really hard not to just lose it all the time. It was so, I mean, filming that was so emotional. Also Lucia, our director, who is like my North Star always, and like the person I just want to please the most, she had just left to give birth days before. And so, you know, I like called her and we were talking and that got me emotional because she's got the baby. And I'm like, you know, it's just like it was an overnight shoot. So I'm tired and I'm crying. Like it's just, you know, all of the elements were just like, I was very much trying to like use all of the things happening. But I mean, it was insane and emotional. And it was also towards the end of the shoot. So you're also like, it's ending. And it was a mixture of a lot of things. So yeah.
Well, Juno, when you looked at Keely at the beginning of season 1 of Ted Lasso to Keely by the end of season 2, it is remarkable just how much confidence she possesses. She's now this confident entrepreneur. So what was it like for you? I mean, all you really, but especially you, Juno, to play this character that has had such an arc. Like, how great was it for you to dive into unexplored areas for Keely like that?
I mean, it's like constant learning, I think as Juno and also as Keely. And I think for me, that's the joy of our job, is that we are constantly learning things about what it is to be different women in different places, in different jobs, in all different walks of life. And Keely Jones has given me such extraordinary insight to somebody who even she thought she had kind of a stop mark that she couldn't go past, and then the guidance that she gets by this extraordinary woman that comes into her life, Rebecca Welton, who then helps her see this kind of potential that she has. And then not only that, but encourages her to actually pursue it. And then in this season, it goes even further where she actually gets to pursue it by even starting her own company. And not only that, but have this extraordinary support from this woman who is her friend and her mentor, but also like her family, and I think it's been an amazing journey getting to figure that out with her, because she is nervous, and I still think she, but at the same time, she's this little bundle of light that's just excited to give it all a go, and she wants to do everything with every ounce of her heart and do it the best she possibly can. And what I also love about her is she's not embarrassed to ask advice. She's not embarrassed to kind of get it wrong to get it right. And I think, it's such an honor to be a part of this show and to be a part of putting this friendship with Hannah out there in the world on our tellies, because it's something that I really treasure and I will miss, and that I will forever be grateful to have been a part of.
Oh, no question about it. Sheryl, I going back to A Piece of the Action with Sidney Poitier and It's a Living, over these years, I've just feel like you've been a part of my TV experience. But with Abbott Elementary, it's a revelation. Like, why was Abbott Elementary a game changer for you, a dream come true for you as an actor?
It was just so wonderful that, first of all, I just have to say this.
Hello.
Hannah W. Yes, Hannah W. Out there. Girl, I'm telling you, I do not know why I have a connection with Hannah W. I don't know why, but I saw Hannah on the screen and I said, that's my doppelganger sister across the pond. She and I should be playing.
Did you not see me just then?
Comedy. Say what?
You started talking and I was like,
anyway, it must be something in the future brewing. But I was so happy that Quinta Brunson came on the scene, saw my work, and said, you are the exact person I need for this show. And when she and I met and started working, it was absolute magic, which to me, you can't make that up. You either have the magic when you come together as a cast or you don't. And she had written something so wonderful, so simple, that brings attention to the need of people to pay attention to not just education, but to the people that give their lives to educating other people's children, because it is their joy and their passion. And for whatever reason, these simple people's story has just come to light and opened a door of understanding for people around the world. Because streaming, there used to be a time England or Jamaica, they'd have to wait like 3 years for the show to reach there. But now it's going to reach you in a week. If you can get Hulu, if you can get HBO Max, you can get these shows and be right on top. So We've got people around the world reaching out to us, expressing thanks, giving them release in this time of stress. I guess it was great for people to see that somebody somewhere had it so much worse than they could ever imagine. So they felt better about themselves. But I just have to thank our creator, Quinta, assembling an incredible writer's room. Our cameramen and women I don't know if anybody watches the show. We have this whole new choreography going on with cameras that is just very outstanding. And it literally brings you right into the show. People, yes, you see it and you can feel what they're thinking. The way that our costume department literally shops the show in stores that the characters would literally shop from. So if I'm in a designer shoe, which I'm not, it would be because they all ended up in TJ Maxx or Marshalls, So the attention that they all have to the detail of the show has been amazing. So much so that the wig I wear on the show, people relate to the wig. They're like, we all have that teacher with that wig. And I'm like, oh my God. And our director, Randall Einhorn, who keeps it moving, who keeps us connected, and who gave me some of the best direction I've ever gotten. Although David Hollander maybe have given it to me on Ray Donovan in a different way, but the direction was do nothing. And I was like, I am a very accomplished actress. Did you just tell me to do
Cheryl, I
nothing?
had that on Game of Thrones and I was massively insulted because I was like, I'm not actually a murdering scepter. And they were like, no, really, do nothing because your face does too much already. And I was like, okay.
See, I have the opposite problem where they're like, Hannah, honey, we need you to do something, okay? Your voice, it stays on one. We need more in the more. I know that you are dead in the eyes, but lights up, okay?
They break you down, they lift you up.
Well, okay. So Sarah, what kind of direction did you get on Ted Lasso that, okay, so you're rehearsing, you're prepping, you're memorizing your lines. And then you get to the set and you're with your director, you're with your fellow actors, some of whom are writers on the show as well. So Sarah, how did being on the set with your director and with your fellow actors elevate your performance beyond what you had been rehearsing to do?
That's one of the most scariest moments, like when you know that you're with actors in the scene and they write as well. I was like, I'm gonna shit myself. But it was all the thing about do nothing. It was all about do nothing, and I was like, you're not gonna get anything. It's gonna be like cardboard. It's just gonna be flat if I do nothing. It's like all seeing. Jason was like, she's all seeing, she's all knowing. Just keep it. It was scary, and then you did something, and then you just get Brendan walking past, going, yeah, good. I was like, I don't know what I just did. What did I just do? I just said the lines. I have no idea what happened. It's so scary. But then you begin to understand, like, there's something in when you get to work with an actor that's generous and is open and is willing to work with you, and you can just go on a journey and ride together. It's a wonderful, when you can trust in that, and it feels like you're doing nothing, but you're doing something because you're trusting in the story of it all. And that's when it's really beautiful.
Yeah. Trust is such a key word. Trust is such a key word.
It is.
On Ted Lasso, Hannah, there is an episode in season 2 of Ted Lasso, Hannah W, that, holy moly, it is so powerful. It is so profound. It is so deeply moving. And I don't know anybody who watched that scene and did not shed a tear. Of course, I'm talking about the father, the funeral, the father. What was it like to shoot that scene? And what was your point of connection to relate to that, to bring out the emotion in you?
Do you know what? I don't even know where to start with this one because not many people will know, although the cast who have become a family to me wholeheartedly in real life, particularly that Juno Temple girl. My own father had been rushed into A&E, and the very day we were shooting the eulogy, he was having emergency quintuple bypass surgery on his heart. And the first day they were going to be doing it was when we were shooting, because of course we obviously shoot everything out of sequence. The first day it was meant to be happening was when we were shooting the wake, and I didn't have my phone on all day, and Juno and my makeup artist and Tahib Jamo and obviously Brett Goldstein and Phil Dunster were holding me up like you wouldn't believe. I had to turn my phone off because I couldn't cope with it. I had to remove myself. It didn't happen that day. And then the next time it was meant to be done was when I was standing in front of the hearse with Dame Harriet Walter, and she held me up, talking of family. And then the final time when I knew it was absolutely happening was the day that I was doing the eulogy. And I had said to Jason, I don't want to think about the singing of this at all. Like when I played Desiree in Little Night Music, I didn't want to sing Send in the Clowns at all. And I wanted to just feel my way through it. And the support and level of love that I had flying back, flooding me with support from the congregation that day, I will never forget all my life, because I genuinely don't know how I kept standing that day. And that will, I actually can't watch that scene. And I can genuinely barely talk about it because it came at a time, as Hannah was saying, about there being times when you do things and you don't know where you end and a character begins. That's what I had in spades that day. And I feel like it was sent to me by Ted Lasso to distract me, but give me the tools to hit where I needed to for Rebecca with her dad.
Wow. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that story, Hannah. I mean, and it definitely comes off in that scene. It's so powerful and genuine. And now we know why.
Thank you. I could have just done without 10 hours.
But she also did it when it wasn't her coverage. I just have to throw that out there. You didn't, it was like such an extraordinary day with everything you were going through, but you didn't once falter, and you didn't ever ask to leave or need. You did it all. It was an extraordinary day, a hard one, I know, but it was really, I'll never forget it either.
But I think you have to. I think I'm not a fan of people that switch off when it's other people's coverage. You know that.
And I agree.
And I just think if I'm giving what I've given, it is your absolute duty to give people exactly what you have given so that they can match it with their honest emotion.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Absolutely.
I'm just saying it was a hard scene to keep going up with, and it was amazing. Sorry to cut you off. It was amazing.
I can honestly say that I love the idea that you can be in companies with give and take. I'm very thankful that it was only in the very beginning of my career, in TV, where there was this idea of not giving your best or not showing up on camera when it was somebody else's coverage. And I think that over the years that sort of feeling has changed. And now more and more actors realize you have to give each other in order to get the best for all of us together, especially in great ensemble pieces.
Not reacting. Yeah.
You have to.
Sometimes though, you do your best take when it's not on you.
And it's not yes.
Oh God, yes.
All the time. Basically,
yes.
All the time for me. I'm always like, oh my God, I was so great in that person's close-up.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I talk about great scenes. There were so many with Keeley this season. In season 2, particularly with Nick Mohammad's character. And talk about a transition. Talk about going like to the dark side in season 2. Ted Lasso was like the Empire Strikes Back season 2. But what was it like to film that particular scene with Nick? Because it shakes Keeley up, and then Keeley has another moment where like she's not even sure like where she stands in her relationship with Roy. So a lot of big changes for Keeley at these moments.
yeah, her heart goes through a lot, right? And I think first and foremost, I was so stoked to be shooting with Nick because Nick is so genius. But initially, the first few scenes I got to do with him, it was quite hard to not break. He is one of the funniest humans I've ever gotten to work with in my life. And so then to go on this journey with him, which you know, because I thought it was such a gorgeous friendship that was blossoming, and I did not see that coming. And so when that kind of turn happened, and you know, because we're reading the scripts as we go, and there's just the beats before where he's just been completely shunned by his father, and he's just so desperate to matter to his dad. So knowing this backstory for this character, to then have this day where they're supposed to go on a fun day and pick a fucking fantastic suit for him and da-da-da, and then it slightly goes wrong, but in a way that Keely isn't. She's not upset by it. She's not angry by it. It's like, whoops-a-daisies, it's all right, let's move on. But it absolutely shatters him. And I actually asked Nick if he wanted me to stay in the room when he spat on the mirror, just in case, you know, I don't know if he wanted it or not. And he was like, yeah, that would be great, actually. And it's not often on Ted Lasso that you could hear a pin drop and you could hear a pin drop. And it was like, ooh. And afterwards, I remember afterwards, he came out and he's a little bit shaky and we had a hug and I was like, you're right. He was like, yeah, that was just horrible. And I was like, yeah. But the whole scene was such an amazing thing to shoot. And then, you know, it follows on for him to then have that beat where the fact that he kissed Keely and Roy's like, yeah, that doesn't matter. Oh, he keeps being made smaller and smaller and no one's meaning to do it. And then he's holding all that. Yeah, he's extraordinary in season 2. So I felt lucky to get to work with him a lot on this particular season because I hadn't had that so much in season 1.
Oh, well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's just so great because there are so many levels to what Keely's going through. And so Hannah E., when I was watching first season of Hacks, and I was reading a lot of interviews that you had done, and you had talked about, oh my gosh, Jean Smart, I've learned so much from her and whatever. But there's something very meta about season 2, going on the road, and she's trying out her stand-up. So how did that sort of role reversal happen, like with Jean Smart learning from you as a stand-up, you know, because you're the one who has the experience this time. So how did that role reversal sort of like elevate both of your performances this season?
I have to say, I mean, Jean has both the heart of an actor and a comedian. Like her origins are in the theater. And so she has the live performance thing in her. And so I think I don't think there's anything she learned from me. I mean, she's seen my stand-up, she's come to my shows. And the only thing I've ever told her ever is mic placement. Can you believe I'm using a landline? Okay.
What's
but
that?
The only thing I ever told her was mic placement. Like, you can tell someone is new at stand-up when they hold it far away. The only thing I ever told her was like, keep it up. And sometimes they'll just start to talk like this, and especially when we're on set and you don't hear the actual projector. That's it. That's the only thing I've ever told her when asked by her, of course. Like, she has the heart of a storyteller. She is always, whenever we're, between scenes, everybody's gathered around and she's telling stories. Like, Jean is she's the star of a dinner party. She's got a million stories. It's structured. There's a punchline. So she has that so innately. I can't say that I had anything to do with her sort of jumping into the material that, again, is so beautifully done and authentically done by our writers who have performance backgrounds. So, I mean, the mic thing is the only thing I told her at all.
Well, that's
Take the mic thing. Take the mic
big one.
Jean Smart is truly one of the most genuine, kind people, actors, human beings in the industry. Period. I joined the cast of Designing Women, and I will never forget her kindness towards me. Never. Just as a human being, just being there. And it's something, a part of her that I had to emulate was just the fact that, this is my domain. Welcome to my home. And the way she extended her kindness. I was just like, I love it. And she's a great storyteller.
She is. It's so true. It's so true. Like Jean has this she has this ability to make everyone feel so at home. And when you're starstruck and you're just like, you don't know, like that sort of,
God.
She doesn't give you the time. She just puts her arm around you and she doesn't even let you go there. She just immediately goes out of her way to make you comfortable. And
that is so gorgeous. What a gorgeous way of putting it. She doesn't give you the time. I can love that.
Yeah.
I love her.
These good people.
Sheryl, I want to ask, so first of all, what you were saying before about Abbott Elementary, when I started watching the show and like, just even in the first episode, and I went, okay, I see what this is doing. And it's immediately hitting, like it's a comedy and the chemistry, with this dynamic ensemble is so great. The chemistry with y'all is fantastic, but the way it's like shedding this light on education, especially in big cities. And like, I was like, okay, this is really, really actually also a very, very important show. But the scene where Barbara, who is a veteran teacher, is dealing with technology and tablets and TikTok and all that fun stuff that maybe it's a challenge and just sort of the balance between the comedy of it and the seriousness of it. So like when you got to sort of work on those scenes, how amazing was that for you?
You know what? I kept thinking about what we had all just been through and we're still going through. How many teachers in the time of COVID were thrown into having to really learn how to use technology, how to still connect with their students, how to not stop, halt their education. And for a lot of them, it was not easy. It was very difficult. And you would hear from teachers, they weren't getting it. Maybe it's time for them to retire. It's become too challenging. They were thinking about these things. And all I had to do was take all of those stories into my mind of this woman who has been so successful. I mean, Barbara Howard, she may not remember you, but you will never forget her. That is the teacher. Yeah. That is the teacher you will never forget, because she has that quality of pouring into her students and they love her. And here it was a time for her when the challenge seemed like, oh, maybe I've come to that point that I can't do this, I can't make it. And then you find out it wasn't her at all. It was indeed the software. The software was just that.
It was.
So I just love that.
I think I could speak for everybody here and everybody watching that up until March of 2020, I never even heard of Zoom. And now we're all using it.
Hello,
Zoom was a big hit song. Wait a minute, Aretha Franklin, who's zooming who? Oh, baby, that was a hit song. Who's zooming who? Yes.
And that's how it should have stayed.
Well, Hannah W., I know you have to hop off, but I want to ask you, like, as an actor, how do you feel you've changed as an actor between the beginning of season 1 of Ted Lasso to the end of season 2 of Ted Lasso?
Ooh, that's a humdinger.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I say my knee-jerk reaction to this, Juno Temple will probably punch me in the face. Because
ready?
I feel, get ready. I feel like I am as self-doubting as I was back then. I do try not to be, but coming from theatre, it takes a long time to feel like you're good enough on camera. And that sparkly unicorn will tell you that I do always go, it doesn't matter how many people go, oh no, that's great, we're moving on. I'll look at her and go,
yeah, she does. And it's bloody annoying because she's so damn brilliant.
but you have to take it as a positive because, I've just turned 48 2 days ago, I don't mind saying, and I'm quite happy that I am absolutely full of self-doubt still. Well done me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation, Hannah W., and all the best to you.
Thank you. I'm sorry I have to jump
Good
off.
to see you, Hannah.
Listen, can I just say, you ladies, we're going to get hammered at the Emmys. I'm just saying.
Yes. Cannot
I love you all.
wait.
You're all too brilliant.
Love you.
Bye. Mwah.
Bye,
Love
darling.
you,
Mwah.
Hannah.
Love you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Loads of love.
I'm going to ask that same question to you, Juno. How do you feel like you have changed as an actor from the beginning of season 1 of Ted Lasso to the end of season 2? Also, The Offer, also developing you as an actor.
I mean, I feel like it's an ever-growing evolution as a woman, and getting to explore these different characters, and definitely understand the questioning if you've nailed anything ever. But also, I think for me, with Keely particularly, as a character that came into my life, first and foremost, this kind of light-hearted, bright light of a young woman in a comedy show was something that I never thought would happen ever, because I was definitely known for playing darker female roles in very small indie movies that a lot of people would never ever see. And thank you. But so this was like a thing of I was absolutely terrified signing up to it initially, and I do still get nervous every day, and I think if I lose that, then it's time to switch careers. So I hope I never lose that. But playing Keely, she's really taught me about trying to be kinder to myself, because I think we are our own harshest critics. And I'm sure everyone on this conversation can equate to that. And our own evil devil on the inside that can really make ourselves feel shit about whatever's going on in life, on or off camera. And so especially during season 2 of Ted Lasso, where we were in lockdown and I was really pretty unkind to myself, Keely was a real light in my life. And so that is something that she's given me and continues to give me, that I hope I take away light years after being a part of Ted Lasso. And I hope I can share it with my beautiful, brilliant friends on and off camera as well, because it's something that's really hard. And when I'm not playing her, I forget about it. And so I want to take it with me, because that is a really special thing to have had from a character.
Wow. I love hearing her talk about, the characters that she's known for, because I first saw Juno in that short series that was shot in Morocco. And I was fascinated by her performance. And then I turned on Ted Lasso and I was just like, that's that girl from Morocco. I said, whoa, look at that swirl when it comes to talent. So I love the fact that, you hear Hannah talk about being on the comedy stage, which is such a different world. Comedians on the comedy stage are one thing. Putting them in a show, they become a different thing. So to hear everybody talk about the different stages that they work on, I would say that all of us right here can do just about anything, whether it's comedy, drama, whether it's dramedy. You could take any one of us and put us on stage. You could take any one of us and put us in a film. You could take any one of us and put us on that small screen, and you are going to get a winning performance. Absolutely.
A winning performance. Sarah, on Ted Lasso, Dr. Sharon really keeps her distance between everybody until she has her own purge of emotion, her own breakdown, her own revelation about herself. Yeah. So what was that like for you, Sarah, to get to that point and to have those scenes where you're so much more expressive finally?
I love that character, Dr. Sharon, because she has her flaws, but she means well. I feel like everybody on that show tries to do the best they can, and they mean well. And I feel like it's a strange place to be in, where you're playing someone who's like extremely confident and sure of herself, and keeps a distance and also cares about everybody. And I love to goof around. I love to have fun. I'm always giggling. So it was kind of a hard balance. And then I always feel like my superpower is my vulnerability. I can, like being on that show and being, season 2 and being like joining this family. I was extremely nervous about it and always self-deprecating about my work, and coming from a theatre background as well, and the kind of fragility of COVID and everything. So when I got into this space of playing that part in that space where she's vulnerable and she's uncomfortable, I actually found it quite hard. I find it quite hard to be that, because I quite enjoyed being the woman in control in a way. Wow. But just to lean into that and trust into it, it was a lot. Yeah.
Wow. So Hannah, when you were filming season 1 of Hacks, and you're being challenged in so many ways, doing something you really had never done before, and then season 2, you're doing even more of stuff you presumably had never done before. So when you were doing season 2 of Hacks, and you got to certain moments, I know we talked about the last episode of the season, but were there other moments that were challenging for you? And how did you rise to the occasion and knock them out of the park?
The entire sort of like first 3 episodes were really tough because, I think Ava and Deborah got into the rhythm of their friendship, and to have guilt and fear and betrayal looming over me personally, surrounded by a lot of comedy where everybody's doing jokes and they're getting laughs and everyone's the punchlines, and I am in my own private experience as Ava, my comedian brain just kind of was like, I'm bombing. Like there's this thing wired in me where if I'm performing and I'm, unless I'm crying or something, it's like a fight scene or whatever, like when I don't hear laughs, I'm like, this is bad. This is going poorly. It's just like wired in me from like the stage. But I think like the whole first 3 episodes where Ava's in the doghouse was really hard for me to be surrounded by so much comedy and having like being in trouble and no one wants to look at you in the eyes, like even in character, you know what I mean? Obviously off screen, totally different. But a lot of that was hard because I feel like we built something really loving, and the betrayal aspect was difficult. In episode 2, there is a scene in the diner where like, Ava fesses up and reads Deborah the email that she sent. And really like that moment was me pouring all of the uncomfortability and sadness and like, I'm doing a bad job in my head into that moment. It was just like cumulative pain and sort of like sorrow around the work that I had to do in a sort of like isolating way. I just like poured it into that moment. So I think that was how I tried to channel it. But yeah, I mean, until we got to the cruise where things are kind of moving and shaking again, I was a little sad.
Oh, wow.
Sounds like a real method actor there.
Well, as we wrap this up, so many actors actors are always struggling. They're always working at it, but especially, these last 2 years with the way things have been challenging for actors. So I just want to start, Sheryl, with you and just be like, what advice do you have for aspiring actors?
Oh my God. If you are meant to do this, there is no way you cannot do this. You have got to have hope. You have got to keep honing your craft. You have got to keep working at it. What if I had given up when somebody told me I was too short? What if I'd given up when they told me I was too tall? What if I'd given up when they told me I was too black? I wasn't black enough. What if I had given up because I took all of their no's? If you're meant to be in this industry, there is no way you will not be in it. Keep on working at it, because it is never too late. Never, ever, ever too late. Look at me. Look, I'm right here with women right here.
What?
Come on now.
Where were you when I was 18? I needed that speech then.
Oh.
Well,
Beautiful.
ladies, thank you so very much, and amen to that. Congratulations on all of your nominations, and congratulations on the amazing work that you are doing and will continue to do. I cannot wait to see what is next for Ted Lasso, for Abbott Elementary, for Hacks. Thank you so very, very, very much for joining us on this SAG-AFTRA Foundation Conversation at Home. Until next time, be well and see you next time.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Bye.
See you
Take
later.
care.